What's up, everybody? Rob here. So, for centuries, the Vatican has been defended by a group of outside mercenaries, providing not only protection for the Pope, but also acting as the de facto military for Vatican City, the world's smallest nation. But who are these people, I'm sure you're asking? Well, I'm about to tell you. So, without any further ado, here is a very quick look at the Papal Swiss Guards. So, going back to the late 15th century, Swiss pikemen were the new cutting edge of warfare. And by new cutting edge, what I actually mean is it was a rebirth of a thing that was actually 1,000 years old, the Macedonian phalanx, but, whatever. In any case, Swiss mercenaries were employed throughout Europe, sometimes on opposite sides of the near constant war that was gripping the continent at that time. They were well known for their skill, their bravery, and their discipline in battle, and therefore became the go to fighting men for royal courts throughout the continent. Now, Swiss guards were employed not only in the Vatican but also in other places as well. For example, there was the French Guard from 1497 to 1830, and they were well known for their reputation again for bravery and, more importantly, for mercenaries, their loyalty and quality, which is something that is oftentimes very sorely lacking amongst mercenaries. Now, the Swiss Guard's connection with the Vatican began under the reign of Pope Sixtus IV, who installed Swiss mercenaries in Rome as part of the city's defenses. Now, during the Italian Wars in the 16th century, Swiss mercenaries fought on both sides of the conflict, including under the control of one Cardinal Giuliano della Rovere, who launched an unsuccessful campaign against Naples. Now, when he became pope, he changed his name to Julius II, and more to the point here, he asked the Diet of Swiss Confederation, basically the government of the Swiss Confederation, to provide a contingent of 200 soldiers for the Vatican's defense. The first elements of this, a 150-man detachment under the command of Caspar von Silenen, entered the city on January 22, 1506, a date which is widely regarded to be the official founding of the Papal Swiss Guard. The Swiss Guard has been disbanded and reinstated multiple times over the centuries and has varied in function from a mere ceremonial unit all the way up to its current iteration as a functional fighting force. The current Swiss Guard has continued to provide the Pope and the Vatican at large with protection, as well as being the de facto army for the Vatican City. And if you really think about it, since the Pope is the absolute ruler of the Vatican, his basically personal army. However, they are not the police force. If you were to go to the Vatican as a tourist and do something stupid, for example, try to deface one of the monuments there, you will be arrested by the Corps of Gendarmerie of Vatican City, which is actually part of the Roman police force. So they're going to be dealing with you, and unless it's a direct threat against the life of the Pope or one of the cardinals or one of the citizens there, generally speaking, the Swiss Guard will probably not interact with you. Now, to join the Swiss Guard, one must be a Swiss citizen, one must be male, and have completed basic training within the Swiss military, which, given that the Swiss nation is one of the most militarized nations on the planet, that's, pretty much everybody who doesn't have a health deferment. One must also have a certification of good conduct from a superior officer. A recruit must also be single, Catholic, and between the ages of 19 and 30 years old, and over 174 centimeters, or if you want to use freedom units, 5 feet 8 inches tall. It is a voluntary basis for recruitment, so there's no drafting or conscription involved, and if accepted, the recruits will be sworn in on May 6th, the anniversary of the sack of Rome, and we'll be getting to that in a little bit. During the induction ceremony, the oath is read, and I quote here, "I swear that I will faithfully, loyally, and honorably serve the Supreme Pontiff," insert Pope's name, "and his legitimate successors, and dedicate myself to them with all my strength, sacrificing, if necessary, my life to defend them. I assume this same commitment with regard to the Sacred College of Cardinals whenever the Apostolic See is vacant. Furthermore, I promise to the commanding captain and my other superiors respect, fidelity, and obedience. I swear to observe all that the honor of my position demands of me." Now, once that is read, they then respond in their native language while grasping the Swiss Guards banner in their right hand, and they say in their native language, which in Switzerland could be either German or French or some cases Italian, mostly German though. They respond, and I quote, "I," state their name, "swear to diligently and faithfully abide to all that has just been read out to me, so help me God and his saints." End quote. Now, once inducted, the Swiss Guards are given additional training in firearms as well as crowd control, VIP protection, and over recent years with current geopolitical climate, counterterrorism training. As part of their job description, while on public duty, or basically for the benefit of tourists, the guards wear traditional clothing from the 16th century. They are equipped with either a beret as part of their daily wear, and as part of more formal occasions and ceremonial occasions, they are equipped with a steel morion helmet and steel cuirasses. Their weapon that they use for this is the halberd, as well as partisans and swords. And again, this is mostly for what's known as public duty, basically so tourists can take cool pictures. And I'm going to do some serious gun porn right now, so just bear with me. And if you don't like gun porn, well, keep watching anyway, because I just don't care from whence the views come, only that they do. Any case, throughout the 20th century, the Swiss Guard was equipped with the driest model 1907 pistol, chambered in .32 caliber, and I just want to say that's one of the ugliest looking pistols I've ever seen, but, it apparently got the job done. Any case, this was replaced in 1981 after the assassination attempt of Pope John Paul II, and they upgraded to now the Swiss-made Sig Sauer P220, which was standard issue for the Swiss Army, chambered in either 45 or 9mm. I'm pretty sure it's 9mm. However, there is a 45 caliber variant, and I just prefer 45 ACP. I'm just throwing it out there. Make of that what you will. Any case, sometimes they need a little more firepower than their handguns, so they use the SIG SG 550, which is chambered in 5.56 NATO and has a select fire capability as well as the 30-round magazine. Now, there are two variants of this rifle. There's the standard variant with a 20.8-inch barrel, and the 5.52, which is a much more compact firearm with a short 8.9-inch barrel. The Swiss Guard also employs submachine guns, including the H&K MP5A3, which is chambered in 9mm parabellum, which I just want to say, the MP5 is the go-to submachine gun for, everybody in the world. It's it's ubiquitous. I mean, if you haven't seen an MP5 before, pretty much every counterterrorism, SWAT teams use it, everybody, in close quarters like that, it's the go-to thing. And they also make use of the HK MP7A1, which is chambered in 4.6 by 30. Look, I'm an HK fanboy, so I approve of all this. So they also have a very large number of the Hispano Suiza MP4344, which is chambered in 9mm parabellum. These are outdated guns, but apparently they got a stack of them in their armory, and if they are looking to get rid of them, I'm just saying I can take one or two. I'm just throwing it out there. If anybody in the Swiss Guard is watching this, you want to take some of them off your hands, let me know. And there is some indication that there is a plainclothes element there actually is a plainclothes element to the Swiss Guard that goes around monitoring the tourists, and they are, of course, armed with concealed carry pistols. More than likely, they are rumored to have used, however, it's very difficult to get confirmation on this, the ubiquitous Glock 19. Now, I just want to say about the Glock, it is kind of like the Toyota Corolla of the firearms world. I mean, everybody has one. They're functional, they're compact, they're capable of doing their job. You're still driving around in a Toyota Corolla. I mean, not something I exactly be, proud of. Yes, it works, but you still got a Toyota Corolla. You're still using a Glock. I'm sorry, get an H&K. So many of you are probably wondering when the Guard was actually used to protect the Pope. Is there really any need for these guys? Well, yes, actually, in recent years, there was the assassination attempt of Pope John Paul II in 1981, which forced the Swiss Guard to not only update their armory, but also to update their tactics and their training. They had kind of stagnated at this point, and they have to now update it for the more modern world. And like I said before, they've increased from just a simple bodyguard force to also VIP protection, crowd control, and nowadays with the current geopolitical climate, they are taking very harsh measures. They're taking very significant steps for counterterrorism. But the most famous example of the Swiss Guards in action was, let's just talk about the elephant in the room here, the sack of Rome in 1527. Look, I know why you guys are really here. At that time, Pope Clement VII had a bit of a disagreement with Charles V of the Holy Roman Empire. Now, I'm not going to go into the whole story. There are people who have explained this far better than I could, and I'm not going to go into it. But long story short, there was a campaign against the Papal States, which controlled pretty much most of central Italy at that point. And there were mutinous troops within Charles's army. Particularly, they were made up of Landsknecht mercenaries from Germany, who were, first off, they were Lutherans, or mostly Lutherans as opposed to Catholics, so there's a strike right there. And they were short on tempers, and more importantly, they were short on pay. And so Charles did not exactly order them to go towards Rome, but they figured, hey, look, I'm not getting paid, and Rome is rich, and it's undefended. Okay, let's go get some money. Well, they made it to Rome, and they eventually did break into the city after a short siege and assault on the cities, and they began raping, looting, and plundering the city. During this time, 189 guardsmen held off the advancing army, making their last stand in the German cemetery in the Vatican, where they suffered over 80% casualties. But 42 survivors, as well as militia and garrison troops, managed to escort Clement to Castel Sant'Angelo, where he was besieged in the castle for 3 days as Rome burned. Now, Clement was eventually forced to make concessions and basically give in to the demands of Charles in their conflict with one another, but that's, again, not really the point here. The point, though, is that these 189 guardsmen in the service of heaven protected the Holy Line. 1527, gave their lives on steps. You know this. Okay? That's why you're here. I'm just going to be honest. I know that's why you're here. I just want to say, I know it's completely unrelated, but Sabaton actually made a better Christian song than actual Christian songs. I mean, I've never seen actual, mainline Christian music getting a bunch of atheists to praise the name of God. Okay? That has never happened. Sabaton pulled it off. Sabaton has better Christian music than actual Christian music industry. I said it. So that is it for this video. Just a real quick look at the Papal Swiss Guard. I'm working on some other stuff as well. Just figured I'd get something, a little bit interesting here. Not very much in depth, but I figured it was interesting and entertaining. In any case, please hit the like and subscribe button. More videos coming out whenever I get around to it, and have a good day. Or don't have a good day. Your adults have any kind of day you want. See you later.